Are back for another steak battle video. This is season 6, episode 4. This is going to be the start of challenge week. So we're getting all the touring pros in town. So tonight we have Cole Redalen. Did I pronounce that right? It's Redalen?
Yes, nailed it. Yep.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome, Cole. So what we have going on, Cole, is we have 3 different steaks. This is going to be steak 1, steak 2, steak 3, and we're just going to determine which is our favorite steak seasoning. So they're all the same steaks.
Okay.
It's just 3 separate steak seasonings. So the way this kind of got started was I personally have a favorite steak seasoning, and I was just curious if other people had that same taste buds as me, if it was their favorite. So I try out a bunch of different seasonings.
Totally.
And see what they think. So let's go ahead, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into steak 1 here.
Boom. Looks tasty.
So Cole, what is this, your 3rd season on tour? Like full tour? 4th season. How do you think your season's going so far?
That's a big bite.
Yeah, it is weird to chew and talk at the same time.
I feel like it's gone okay. Started out a bit slow. They got a top 10 at Austin, and then it's kind of continued to be a little slow until Portland, which I finally took second. Yeah, that really kind of righted the ship for me this year. It's been such an up and downhill, just like everything feeling good, and then all of a sudden, the placing just isn't there.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've stayed in the cash for pretty much every single event, so that's been a huge goal. Always in kind of the top 30. So that's a huge relief. And then, yeah, coming off preserve, I made a lead card for the 2nd round and didn't finish super strong, but I started out really strong, which sometimes getting started is difficult for me. So as long as I can keep starting out strong, I can figure out kind of the rest of the tournament later on.
Nice. Yeah, I looked at this season's stats kind of compared to last season's stats, and it looked kind of similar, where you have hot streaks and cold streaks. Mm-hmm. But one thing I had heard this year, and I think I heard it on coverage, I don't know if it's true or not, that they said that you changed your form recently. What was kind of your decision-making behind doing that?
Yeah, so it's not really, maybe it is a major change. It didn't really feel like a major change to me. It kind of felt like the way I was throwing and the timing of it was all pretty much the same. But a lot of it was getting my reach back from being really high to bringing it a lot lower. I feel like if you have a much lower reach back, it's easier to pull through your stomach rather than pulling through your shoulders. And so I really felt like in order to maximize kind of the slower run up or controlled style throw, I needed to enable to use my core a little bit easier with the positioning of my arm. And so that was kind of the biggest piece about it.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. All right, so we've had steak 1. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 2 here. I'll grab this giant fatty piece.
Yum. It's a big old bite.
So have you noticed improving your game, changing your reach back? Are you getting more distance, or are you getting more accuracy, or both?
I've definitely lost some distance, honestly. I feel like at the peak of my distance throwing was back in 2022, and I was using a lot of whip. My form was kind of right where I wanted it to be then, but it was just really whippy. I felt like there wasn't a lot of fluid control throughout the shot. It was just kind of throwing my arm back and wrenching it through. Now I feel like I can kind of control my arm behind myself and pull it through with the same amount of control at the same time. So I've definitely lost some distance, but my accuracy has just gotten so much better for sure.
Yeah, and that's and you were already throwing far, so I can't imagine losing a little bit, it's really gonna hurt you that much. But gaining that accuracy, I'm sure. Is
in a distance comp, I can still pull it out.
Nice.
Yeah, 6 bills for sure.
Is that so? What's your furthest accurate or what's your furthest throw that you've been measured at?
I think it's 683.
Jesus, that's a smash.
Yeah.
That's a smash.
Pretty far.
All right, so we've had steak 1, steak 2. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 3 here. I'll grab this little piece over here. So this year, I know last year you had an RV. Are you still rocking the RV life, or have you switched to like Airbnb and stuff like that?
RV.
RV?
Yeah.
Now, what is it about the RV that you prefer over, like, say, doing the Airbnb?
Yeah, it's there's definitely pros and cons to each. You know, the con is you're driving a big rig all the time. But thankfully I'm towing a car behind it this year, so that makes it so much easier. You park the RV for the week and basically just have a portable home. The biggest perk for me is feeling like I have a home, feeling like I have a space that's mine. Cook my own meals a lot easier. I have a refrigerator that runs 24/7, so I can keep whatever I want in there. So a lot of convenience there. I have my own shower, my own bathroom at any time that I need it. And sometimes you never know what you're going to get with an Airbnb. Most of the time you can look at pictures and stuff and book it, but sometimes the quality doesn't always upkeep when you get there. And so my biggest thing was it's consistent. I'm taking care of it. It's kind of my space, and I like to have all my ducks in a row with that.
Yeah,
so.
That is kind of nice that you do have your own space that you can kind of escape to, and you don't have other people bothering you for whatever reason, or if you just need some alone time, you can have your own little space. Yep. So you said you do feel like your game is kind of coming together again. What are some goals that you have for this year? I know last year, obviously, you had the huge win at Ledgestone. You pretty much dominated that event, which was insane. It's insane, like how well you played, and especially considering both those courses are two significantly different courses. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully with that tournament, it was kind of proving myself on both stages, in the open with OB, but also in the tight woods. So I don't really feel like there's any other tournament that can really round you out better as a player than that event. So yeah, it felt super cool to walk away with that one. That was just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I felt like the stepping stones just kind of came into place, but also just came out of nowhere. I still felt like I had so much to learn and so much to go after, and it was my first time ever leading into a final round, and thankfully I had that 4-stroke buffer, which made it feel so much easier. But at the end of the day, it also didn't feel easy. It was not easy at all. It was very, very stressful. But yeah, by the end of it, it's so worth it. I'm really excited for this next upcoming part of the season, especially that tournament and the Des Moines Challenge. I really love this course. I haven't played super well at it yet, but I love playing it. It's a blast. And also Deglow, I love the toboggan. Excited to get back out there, and then Green Mountain. Love being out in Vermont. So yes. I think this kind of next stretch is kind of like that 3/4 side of the tour. Yeah. Kind of through the northern Midwest is kind of where I feel like I thrive the most, for sure.
Well, and it's cool because it's it is a big variety of courses, and no one can pigeonhole you into one type of player. You've clearly proven that you can play in the woods, you can play in the open courses, and we have a good mix of that coming up. And then obviously we got the majors and the playoffs, which is pretty exciting. All right, so we've had all 3 stakes. This was stake 1, stake 2, stake 3. Kind of what was your favorite in terms of 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, not gonna lie, it's number 3 kind of stole my heart the most there. It's got a little more salty flavor to it, which is my cup of tea. And then the first one was probably my second favorite. The second one, I actually didn't taste the seasoning a whole lot in that one, so maybe it's a little bit of a lighter taste. But yeah, definitely the third one was probably my favorite, and the first one would be my second favorite.
All right, so what we got going on here is 2 of these are actually steak seasonings, and one of these is what they call just an everything seasoning. So the first one is this Killer Hogs Barbecue steak rub. There's a guy on YouTube, that's actually kind of how I got into doing these steak battle videos, was Malcolm Reed. He makes these instructional barbecue videos, and this is his seasoning. So yeah, it's a pretty good seasoning. It's a pretty decent steak seasoning.
Yeah.
The number 2 one that you said you didn't really taste much of the seasoning is this Flavor Gods everything seasoning.
Okay.
So apparently it's a seasoning you can put on anything.
Yeah.
And I actually hadn't had it before. I'm like, well, if you can put it on anything, you can put it on steak.
Absolutely.
So we could try it out. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I didn't really get much flavor out of it. And then the third seasoning, your favorite, which is also my favorite.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's the ultimate steak and roast rub.
Yeah, I guess.
This is the goat. And it's always interesting to see, because actually our last steak battle, we just had Gavin Babcock on, and it had been his favorite, but it wasn't his favorite during the last steak battle. And his family was here. It was also not their favorite. We had a different one. I thought about having it on again this time just to see if you thought it'd be your favorite, but maybe I'll bring it out. Maybe I'll do like a Champions edition, everybody's favorite.
Definitely.
And see.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was Steak Battle, Season 6, Episode 4. Next week, I do have some people lined up. I have Anthony Barella lined up. I have Ezra Robinson lined up. I will see who else is going to be available. My schedule's still pretty open, so be on the lookout for next week's steak battles. All right, see you guys.
Thank you, Matt.